All right, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of the SparkCast. Joining me
Hey.
today is Spark Brian.
Yeah. Hey guys. And joining you is the entire community also.
Yeah, as we do.
Yeah.
So, Brian, what's new this week? This is a
Uh
softball.
yeah, so we have Leaderboards Pack coming out tomorrow at noon Pacific time. Along with that, we got a bunch of things. So we have the feature, we got all the props, sounds, effects, all those great things come with the pack. Then we have a starter kit level that is releasing right alongside that. You'll find that in the starter kit feed. It's just called Leaderboard Starter Kit. And then we have a number of Team Dakota levels that will also have leaderboards added into them day one, so you guys can play those. Probably we'll probably add four of them to the feature feed. We won't take anything off the feature feed. We'll probably add four of them to the feature feed so that people can play some leaderboard levels day one. And then later on in the day, not right at launch, but later on in the day, we'll have a leaderboards feed. So a feed specific to games that use leaderboard tag. So that'll be a great way for uh, people to start getting in leaderboards type games. So all leaderboards, and I'm so excited about like the tiniest thing of the pack. Besides the fact that leaderboards are awesome, is the flags with the flag physics, and like this is the first thing that has these flag physics. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those for the medieval, back to the fantasy realms. So we
Yeah,
can have
yeah.
like the king's flag and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is really only the first time we're using them. I've seen top request from people is, oh, it'd be great if we just get that cloth without the pole. Keep on making those kinds of requests to us. Um,
And also, there was the other one where the paint, checkered paint.
oh yeah, you guys want checkered board paint?
Yeah, there was a little bit of trolling going on, but we couldn't understand the inside joke to that.
Yeah, I guess you'll find out next week.
Okay then. Wait, next week?
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't you mean tomorrow?
Nope, next week.
Okay then. So that's even more confusing trolling.
I know
Um,
exactly.
and also, so we do have some announcement to make with the regard to the MiniJam. As some of you know, the .org staff, namely me, uh, ran a smaller competition, basically just a way to encourage users to finish something. Because I noticed that having a deadline actually encourages people to complete their projects. Um, but as a reward for winning the game jam, the users who collaborate on the winning entry will get the leaderboards pack starting tomorrow, as well as 50,000 credits apiece from me.
From Mike specifically, from Moose specifically.
Yeah, who's this Mike person? He's gone.
Yeah,
I don't
I
have a
know.
hat.
Yeah, that's right. We booted him out.
We, as in you weren't even there at the time, but still. Um, so without further ado, the winner is. Let me, I know one of their names. I want to make sure I get both. Oh, I can't change that. I can't actually look at that. Huh. I can't look at the text. I know most of
Memory
the.
time.
All right, so I know it's Charlotte and Carolinia. I can't remember Carolina Lax, Carolina Arlie, something. I know it has Carolina in there. Anyway, with because you died.
That's
It,
a pretty awesome name for it, by the way.
it was amazingly applicable name too because it was throughout the entire level. You die constantly.
Oh, I'm frozen, by the way, because you alt tabbed.
Oh yeah, there we go. It wasn't even alt tabbing; it was just minimizing.
Oh, right, yeah, that minimizing trick.
I can have another window on top of you. It's just I can't minimize it.
Yeah.
Anyway, because you died was a side scroller platformer where every step you took was probably going to kill you, and I died about 111 times before completing it. But I got all of the freaking codite, so I finished it. I was a completionist.
Nice.
Um, but they did a great job of
Carolandia.
Carolandia. Thanks, Miscad. Um, they did a great job of balancing the difficulty versus the punishment of death. So it wasn't very punishing, whereas you die, you start over pretty much immediately, and there was the only pain was actually seeing the death counter go up and your score go down slightly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah, those guys will be getting Leaderboards Pack tomorrow.
and Brian will be taking care of that, I presume.
Yes, unlocked for them as soon as it launches.
But thanks to everybody else for participating, because we had about roughly around 10 entries, but with two or three people apiece for the most part. So that was a lot
Yeah,
of participation.
actually, really good entries too. I actually haven't, I myself yet haven't played through all of them, mainly because my account back at home has gotten, with the most recent update, it's been stuck on curated only. So it's my amount of playing community levels has diminished back home. So, but let's see, I played Danker Pie's Ninja one, which is awesome. Um, I wasn't sure if the one by S and the Acid Rain and Giant Luga counted, but I played that one, and I'm playing through a bunch of others today. But they're pretty great so far.
Yeah, there was the music battle. There was Danker Pies. That was which one was that? I remember playing it. What was it?
It was the, I don't know if I want to call it Infinite Runner, but you're always running
Oh, running forward. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ninja one. Yeah.
Yeah, that had spontaneously generated environments.
Yeah.
And there was Eric's, which was pretty excellent with you keeping the sun moving around.
The rainbow one, right?
Yeah.
Rainbows, whatever. Yeah, yeah. I need to check that one out too.
It had really cool effects, whereas
So
the
many ways
text
to do it.
the text looked great using the rainbow effect. Um, then there was also the Mega Man one. There was the shooting gallery, which was probably a little too easy because you could walk right up to the targets and shoot them. I don't think that was intended or not.
The sheep one.
Yeah.
Sheep shooting gallery. Yeah.
So there was plenty of great ones, and I would suggest everyone update theirs to have the scoreboards incorporated after tomorrow, and then you can, you know, have your level put into the scoreboard feed or leaderboard feed for just a little bit of effort because you already have the completed game at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so with that out of the way, we will now move on to the rest of the business, which was which feed do you use most? That's first on the list. So right now, uh, you can go to any feed starting off the bat, whereas before it would be either the newest feed and then later the new and rising feed. So Brian asked the community, which feeds do you guys use the most now? Personally, I
Hmm.
still just use the search bar. I don't even look at the feeds.
Yeah, I've actually gone back to top rated 7 days. I used to back in early beta when it dumped us on the newest. That was the first one you went to. The first one I always went to was top rated last 7 days. So I've started going to that one, and I've seen a lot of people migrating to that one, I think. But it's been really interesting actually because, when we were putting people on new and rising, that was sucking up so many plays. And as soon as something got off new and rising, there was sort of nothing left for it. And now we're seeing the plays have just diverged everywhere. So there's just as many plays as there were before, but the plays are happening kind of everywhere around Project Spark. So it's a cool thing because it means that something that was just updated or something that's kind of sitting near the top of, say, RPG that was made months ago is now getting lots of plays. So it's been good, but I'm just always curious to hear from you guys what's kind of your go-to feed currently in our feed system.
I was surprised that Lady Laren mentioned the Surprise Me feed because I didn't think anybody would ever use that feed.
It can be fun at times, actually. I have actually sometimes that and sometimes worlds like this have brought me to some really interesting games that I didn't know much about. Actually, like one of the best examples of that is Alien RTS, which was this phenomenal RTS game that came out a few months ago that had kind of all the tenets of an RTS game really well put together. And its ratings were too low to get onto New and Rising, but I found that through worlds like this and played it and was blown away by it, and we featured it because of that. So that sometimes works really well.
Have you guys thought about doing another feed where it's kind of like a feature feed but a much lower bar to entry? Where you played it and it's not horrible, so it goes into this feed?
Uh, yeah, I mean, we've been thinking about we've been thinking about a lot of stuff feeds related. I think the one that I'm happiest about is the recently updated feed. Just looking at that every day, um, it's really cool
Well, you're
seeing
the
the
one who
types of
put that
things.
together, so you may be a little bit biased.
Yeah. I'm totally biased towards it because I wanted it to succeed, and it seems like it's doing the job that I was hoping it would do. But in terms of what to do next, I mean, we talked about the leaderboards feed. Yeah, we're thinking through some within our current feed system, like other cool feeds that help people find games. I mean, our the thing we want to do with all of our feeds is focus them more and more and more on surfacing greatness. So
Which, of course, means finding the good stuff.
exactly. So, if there's more that we can do there, we've been actually considering the idea of, favoriting is sometimes an action that you use for a level that you really enjoyed. So, working on a feed that kind of is based on the favoriting system. Um, so
Well, how
that's
often
something.
people actually use the favorite button, though? Is
Yeah,
it enough to generate a feed?
they don't use it too often. So, it could be an interesting experiment. We're looking at that one. That's like one thing we're considering.
You just have to make sure that achievement hunters don't take advantage of it, because now with anything you guys say that involves a feed, you have to say, oh, but achievement hunters are going to take advantage of it. Those bastards.
The interesting thing, though, is recently updated. There are, if you knew exactly how we put the feeds together, that you could exploit it in certain ways, and we found no one has exploited it yet. Could just be that no one's figured out how to exploit it, but so far, they haven't exploited it. But the other thing that we want to work on is actually, which S&D brings up, is also the things that count as remixes, but are the good remixes, getting them into all the feeds. We're now looking at, I'd say a third of our feeds now allow remixes on them. Before, I'd say 3 weeks ago, only two of our feeds, which were newest and surprised me, allowed remixes on them. Now we have gotten to a third, and eventually we want to get it to 100% of all of our feeds. There are just certain ones that just take a bit too much of um, direct manual moderation to make it so it could go bad fast that we haven't moved it onto. But as we work on more things for the feeds, we'll roll it into more and more of our feeds. So at least the things that are, were remixes, but were actually legit good efforts, are finding their ways into the feeds. I think, the one that we did it for first was multiplayer. And immediately we found some really, really interesting levels that got into multiplayer because of that.
That's cool. As long as you guys are progressing towards the things that won't penalize collaboration and won't penalize legitimate remixing.
Exactly. I mean, that's the big thing is, we were very stringent when we first rolled it out because we didn't really have too many methods to know like what's a good remix, what's a bad remix. We still don't have as many methods, but we have smarter methods. We're working on something that will give us basically the smartest methods, but that's still a whiles away. But in the meantime, there are definitely certain things we can do, and Thompson and I have realized that that's so important. There's just so many levels that we were seeing that were great collaboration efforts, or things that were saved as new project that weren't getting on. So we've started hitting that on its head. And yeah, we're actually going to be probably I'd say within a week from now, it'll be about 50% of all feeds will allow remixes into them.
Cool.
Yep.
So speaking of smart stuff, you guys are hiring more devs.
Yeah, we're looking for smart people who can help us build more features. Yeah, we're looking for a bunch of devs. We're actually looking for people on the art side and on the dev side. Um, I'll post in my State of Spark tomorrow actually about. I need to find the link to it, but we're actually looking for a more technical art lead position, and then we're also looking for a bunch of dev positions. So if anyone um, is very knowledgeable in C++, plus you have knowledge of Project Spark, that's the like, perfect combination of the types of devs we're looking for. And reach out to Thomas and I. We can give you more info. But yeah, we're looking for more devs to create more of the great things the community's been asking for.
So these are
That's the
going to be
goal.
explicitly for the things the community have been asking for, or is it just general Spark stuff like debugging or what?
I mean, it's all of that. The community's been asking for, fix this bug for us, and with more devs, we can fix it faster. That's the thing. So yeah, I mean, since we're past release, and we've gotten through like a lot of content that was pre-planned. A lot of our focus moving forward is hitting on exactly what people have been asking for. Like a lot of people want this exact thing. Here's this exact thing. So that's what I mean. That's primarily the thing we're looking for devs, and we're looking at a lot of future stuff too that we're nowhere near ready to talk about. That some of our dev time will be spent on, but it's all related to things that people have been asking for.
I'm trying to get the link to work, and it's fighting me. But
Link to what?
the job posting, let's see if that.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it will remove the link if I include the .com. So I put a space between Microsoft and .com for that.
I see. Yeah.
In any event, that's a stupid Twitch issue. But you're looking for a new art lead because Andy moved on to HoloLens.
We can't talk about what he may or may not
Right.
do. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. We'll be posting talking about that in our State of Spark tomorrow. But yeah, this is a more senior position though. We're looking for someone who actually has experience leading art teams and can lead our art team on things. So yeah.
So they decide the aesthetics or just what would an art lead actually do?
Yeah, the art lead position is the day to day, working with all of our artists to make sure that every one of our packs is up to snuff on the visual aesthetics of it, and everyone's delivering their assets on time. If people have issues, they're the one who swoops in and helps them out. They also sometimes will take on and develop art themselves. If things get crazy. So they do. I mean, they do a lot of things. They're the glue that holds the art team together.
Just make sure you hire somebody who doesn't want to get the 8 to 10-year-old audience.
Right.
They're aiming
Yeah.
for the 18-year-old audience, I think, for the content. And Brian just went into a coma.
No, I'm nodding.
All right, so I guess that moves us to the next topic, which is we have our first Spark Millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. We actually, actually can't, well, I can't share this info, but our team was so curious about how much time and stats and effort Russ Plague put into reaching 1 million XP that we actually ran data because we were so blown away by it. I can't share it though because we can't share user data, obviously. But it's amazing that Russ Plague has hit 1 million XP. I believe so far we've done all the checking and it looks like he is the first user by a long shot to hit 1 million XP. So congrats to Russ Plague. That was pretty awesome.
And he got 1 year of Spark Premium and 1 million credits from it.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's not official, but if you were to take the 40,000 credits equals $1 type thing, or is it 40,000 equals $10? I forget which. Either way,
forget.
I did the math, and it's like you just gave him like $350.
Something like that. I mean, he got 1 million credits. He deserves, or 1 million XP. He deserves 1 million credits by far, definitely. Yeah, it just like we actually looked at the amount of days it took him if he'd played straight in Project Spark to get there. It's mind-boggling. Wow. Russ Plague is a super user by far with the amount of time and effort he put into getting to 1 million XP.
And the next thing, I guess, is the non-DLC tag, which was something that people have been requesting, but it turns out it has been around for a while.
Yeah, well, I don't know how, I don't know how long we were going through the top community requests and we kind of stumbled upon that when we were going through that. And so as soon as I realized that we had put that in there, I let the community know. So the village or the Woodland Village, that's a tag that has all non-DLC items. If you only want to use a pack that only has non-DLC items, then use that tag when you're looking at icons, characters,
Primitives.
props, assemblies, effects, so on and so forth.
But it does have the
Um,
primitives as well, right?
yeah, it has a primitives. It has everything that is that you basically um, don't have to shell out money or credits to get.
And I guess this next part is there isn't a whole lot more to add to that, other than people been asking for it so they could make levels that are available for everybody
Right.
and to
Yeah, and
remix.
we're actually we've gotten feedback already. We're looking at actually doing a name change to make it. Now that I know that we have it, we're looking at a name change to make it more apparent what it is.
Right.
Because I think the name was probably the reason why no one tried it.
Yeah, so you like base content or core pack, something like that.
Yeah, or something like that. We'll look to change the name to just make it more apparent for people. But so
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
that's in
base
there.
content or basic content would be the most obvious, without delving into stuff like free or uh, non DLC type language.
I'm looking at Russ Plague's comment. I'm not sure if he's joking or not. A Sauron tag in the tags. If I hope you're joking because I do not know anything about that.
Well,
That sounds that
sounds
sounds
trollish.
suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well,
Um,
I'd be so
but
much more.
sometimes you never know. So now I feel the need to open up Project Spark to check.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So
If it
it's
was
yeah.
Saurus, then I'd be really happy because that usually means like the lizardmen from Warhammer. But
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to open this up on the side and check what he's talking about. This I'm not aware of. If there is indeed a Sauron or Saurus tag.
he's lying, is what Acid Rain says.
Okay.
So I guess the next topic, you don't even know what it is yet, because I'm gonna spring it up on you. Your old
Cool.
stopping grounds, RPG Maker. It's on sale right now. The most recent version for $14.
Which one is that? Is that VX Ace?
Yes.
I used to do a tutorial series on VX Ace, by the way, before Project Spark. And they were plenty popular actually. I gotta say. But yeah, I as soon as Project Spark was announced, I stopped that and moved on to Project Spark.
Well, all of their content packs are on sale for like 50 to 80% off as well. So you can get
Yeah.
all of their content packs for like $300.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'll give you the blunt honesty of I think RPG Maker is really cool. I mean it's very simple. The ability to just import your own stuff is done very well. Um, it's really nice that there's a community of people who create their own scripts. You can put your own scripts in there. But for me, it was too limiting because I think if you want to make a top-down 8-bit RPG type game, it's like that's
That's it,
it.
right?
It's the most amazing thing for that.
So some
Um,
of the graphics look better than 8-bit though.
yeah, but you have to spend a lot of time making that pixel art graphics. If you want to make your graphics that good, you have to really spend some time with it. Because I know I tried. Because it's different than making like 3D models. You actually have to make sprites.
Hmm.
And making really good looking sprites is very hard. I actually did a tutorial. If you go back to my YouTube channel, I have this horrible old tutorial about how to make sprites that I think got like I think that was my only one that got like over 100,000 views. But
Wow,
it
that's pretty substantial though.
yeah, but it is sprites were hard to make.
So that's the hard stuff. Like, what from
Oh, we
speaking
are
of,
frozen, by the way.
okay, it's back.
Where was our voice frozen as well?
Don't know. I mean, I can't even pay attention to the live version because it always freezes for me, the video anyway. But the audio I think is always fine.
Interesting. Um,
But in any event, so what from RPG Maker would you keep if you were to take it into Project Spark? Because I know Wirt is always talking about things he wants from Game Globe.
yeah, I mean, obviously, the importing of assets is something that a lot of creators are asking for. That's all I'll say for that. But that was a very easy thing to do, to import your own sprites and so on. And it's still appearing frozen for me, by the way.
Well, Acid Rain says that nothing's frozen for him.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, I just had to
Refresh.
refresh. Yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. Um,
Yeah, I think a lot of people had that issue because we just dropped down by 1/3 in viewership.
yeah,
But in any event, the one thing
yeah, and also the save states were easy built-in thing into that too, which is nice. I just couldn't get over, like, really, you had to make a top-down game. You had to make a top-down sprite-based game, and I wanted to do a, I started out with my sprite-based game. I had all this lore. I had I'm hearing an echo on your end, by the way. But anyways, I had all this lore for this huge story I was building, and as I got like further and further into it, then it just I hit kind of the limits of RPG Maker really quickly, and that's honestly why I moved on to Project Spark back when I was working on the community side of things. But it still did certain things very well, and
The one thing I saw that I liked was being able to paint terrain, like in a way that would. So instead of having 3D terrain, you could paint it to have mountains look like one on a flat area, have it terrain to look like mountains, and paint terrain to look like forests, that sort of
yeah,
thing.
well, it wasn't necessarily painting terrain. You actually just import your own paint. Like you just bring in whatever pictures you want, basically. So you can just have the picture background be a picture of your mom if you want it to be, or like whatever you want. So it's not necessarily like painting as the same as painting in Project Spark. It was more of just choosing like tiled images that you place in a world.
Well, that would still be a good idea for Spark, though, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like there are definitely cool things are there that I think would work well in Spark. There's just I hit the limits on that basically. And I really wanted to make a 3D game, and
No, no, you don't have
I,
to defend your choice for leaving. I'm just trying to get to good things that could be imported into Spark.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the good things are just like the importing was easy, and the save states were easy for that. And the ability to import people's custom scripts is a really cool thing.
But it would also be nice to have sprites for those who actually want sprites.
True, yeah. But sprite making, I gotta tell you, because I have done 3D modeling and I've done sprite making. This may sound crazy to most people, but I find making sprites harder than making 3D models.
Well, if we were to import our own assets in Spark, then we could make our own sprites and stuff like that as well, and just have them as, yeah, I don't know, icons or something.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. And so the other piece of news that's probably irrelevant to everything is I just saw that Among the Sleep is actually going to be on sale on the Xbox One finally. So for those who enjoy survival horror games, you get to check that out. It was actually a very different type of game. So it reminded me of Spark in the way that you get to do something absurd. Like no one would make a survival horror game where a 3-year-old, a toddler, was the main character, but they did that in Among the Sleep.
Hmm. Interesting.
And that's basically my way of saying I have no more topics to talk about, but I know you had some questions for the community.
Yeah, this has kind of blanked my questions for the community, but well, I guess a few other things to talk about is tomorrow's stream. So we have leaderboards coming out tomorrow,
Is there any more
and
to talk about with leaderboards? Because it seems like we've been talking about them for like 3 weeks.
yeah, well, no, the only thing I'll say is on tomorrow's stream, if you like free stuff, you might want to tune in to our stream tomorrow.
You have
Um,
me intrigued, sir.
if you enjoy of the freeness from freedom and all things that are free, then tomorrow's stream is a stream for you.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. So we're doing things a bit differently tomorrow's stream. I gotta say, leaderboards are gonna make streams fun for us moving forward. Just the things that we can do now that we have leaderboards. Oh, they will be fun indeed.
You're gonna have
So
persistent world, basically.
yeah, there's that too. That was actually
That was last week's
Thomas.
stream.
Yeah, or that
Or
was
this week's.
not last week. Yeah, this week. Yeah, that was Thomas's thing was really cool. We're looking at so I'm just everyone here pretty much you watch most of our streams. So I'm just curious what you guys would like to see from kind of our education streams in the future. Um, we are looking at I'm gonna actually tell you we actually have the next two planned. We have next week we are going to have Stevo on talking about content or combat and how to make good combat mechanics.
Don't think it's
Um,
possible.
he's the one who makes all of our default enemies, so he has a lot of good tips, tricks for how to make combat in Project Spark. And then week after that, we're gonna have Zach on. It's probably gonna be longer than an hour, but he's gonna show you how to make a random dungeon generator in Project Spark. It's
Oh,
something
sweet.
people have been asking that for a while for that. So
Yeah,
um,
I'll be interested how in depth that actually goes, as opposed to. I've seen a lot of people make the skeleton of the dungeon, but I haven't seen anyone generate prop placement and enemy placement in some kind of logical fashion.
yeah. And vanity item that'll be fixed in TU12. We thought it was fixed in TU11. We know it's fixed in TU12. That's like the one achievement that we're like, fix already. Yeah.
You guys are spending too much time on achievements.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, we want to get everything good.
No.
Everything right.
No, you can leave achievements by alone.
Yeah, but what are the things that you guys are running into? What are the things that you would find really beneficial for us to cover in tutorial streams? That's the question we have for you. And also, like, what are things that you would like to see from us on our tutorial or even just our content streams too? Like, what are things you found the most fun? We love to hear about just what you enjoy when you're watching these live streams.
I was surprised that the multi-brains tutorial was only 2 streams.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to it. It's just it seems like it's really complex, but once you get into multi-brains, they're not insanely complex. I hope. I mean, after you watch it, I hope it makes sense to you. Great, thanks for saying the multi-brain tutorial is not crappy. That's a plus.
Well, they didn't say not crappy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they said the opposite. They said it's good. Yeah,
It was pretty.
yeah,
It was pretty nice seeing when Jed and who was it that came with him? Was it Matt?
Matt. Yeah,
When they came on to talk about how they design props, but it would be interesting to again iterate with them on something. So if Jed could bring in like a doodle pad or something and then start drawing, and then we say no, like with a lizard head instead of a cheetah or whatever on the mountain, whatever. And then he goes, oh, okay, and then changes it, and then we go, that looks perfect. We're gonna make that content. That'd be great.
yeah. We've actually been thinking about that. We were thinking about our next pack after leaderboards. What if we just did a long stream of just making stuff with it?
Making stuff with it or designing stuff for it.
Making stuff with it. If you're talking about designing other stuff for it, watching our artists kind of working in Maya, things like that.
Yeah.
That we've looked into.
Or just doodle pad. Like if he
Yeah,
has Photoshop up or something.
We've looked into that. A doodlepad would be probably very boring for you guys, honestly, because it takes a while to draw really great stuff. But we have been thinking about showing just an artist at work. The problem is it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to make good props, make good artwork. So
Make it a day stream, that's fine. We can just sit behind Jed's desk.
yeah, we're thinking about that.
The webcam is portable. And he has a wall behind his desk that you just prop that up and look over his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely thinking through the idea of doing more stuff with our artists. So, I mean, is that something that people like the idea of seeing our artists come on and make cool stuff? Um,
The answer is
yeah,
yes.
or man, I guess we could we could once Thomas compiles all the concept art, we could have a stream show just showing off concept art too.
That'd be fantastic. But we need all of it, not just the stuff that is okay for you to show. Just put it all on Facebook like Mike did.
Well, no, that's actually yeah, that all that concept art is that took a while to like figure out which concept art to show back then. But no, we're looking actually at concept art we have never shown before. Like that's what Thomas is going through. It's like specifically to concept art we've never released. That's the concept art that he's putting together.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Give a tour of the office.
Oh, so many NDA things that we couldn't show you guys. NDA means
Just
things that are not ready for the public to see.
just put up a waiver in front of the screen and say you all sign this.
Everyone signed this before watching this YouTube video that is public and viewable by thousands. Yes, great idea. Um, yeah, we're definitely you're definitely going to start seeing in our streams in general more variety. I get tired of seeing myself in every stream, so we're looking at more variety of just getting more people in the streams with Thomas and I.
Are you guys gonna change up the Friday streams at all, or are those set because of
Oh
like
no,
time
we're
constraints?
I mean we're looking at changing up all the stuff. So Friday streams we already have our nice mix of people. We're gonna work on bringing in more people. Um, Probably actually even starting with this stream, we or this Friday stream we might start bringing in extra like people from just different groups in Microsoft too. Because we're in a Microsoft building. We're surrounded by other Microsoft developers. They all love what's happening in Project Spark. So yeah, we're looking at
Bob Schmacky, of course.
yeah, actually, funny enough, sometimes, so for those of you who don't know, community member Bomb Strachey is, I don't know if I should be saying this because now everyone knows, but he does,
He works for
does,
Xbox. Yeah, I've said it
yes, he
before.
does work for Xbox. And he sometimes stops by our office, which is kind of cool.
Usually when there's cookies involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he does. Yeah, but so we're looking at doing cooler things with our Friday stream. Extra Tuesday stream, I was just talking with people on .org chat last night and had like a few good ideas of maybe at the end of each Tuesday stream having like a 10 minute segmented section where we talk about code tips or specifically answer user submitted questions about code issues they're having. Like a set aside 10 minutes to just focus on a little thing rather than the big thing that takes up the rest of the stream.
Also, whatever happened to Thomas's idea of like making a game in segments or going through a bunch of different design areas? Um,
Yeah, we were thinking about that. I actually built out the beginning of something for that myself. We're thinking we have an idea for that. We're just thinking about like how that slots in with our other streams of just like us making a game. But the thing we're more interested in though is like we're more interested in talking about what you guys are doing and just showing you stuff that helps you guys rather than evangelizing ourselves, if that makes sense. So we do want to shift the focus more towards that in the future rather than look how awesome Thomas and I are that we built this amazing thing. It's more of like look how awesome you are by building this thing. So that's why that kind of sputtered out because it would have just been us building something, but we may resurrect in a different idea of that where maybe we collaborate with the community on building something.
I know that one of the other uh, popular streams was tips and tricks from a while back, where you talked about wasn't I don't know if you were even there. I think it might have been just Zach maybe when talked about powerful but underused code tiles. I'm not sure if there are any more of those, but if there's anything else that are like really powerful but underused, then that could be one.
Yeah, Zach did one stream on that, and I did one stream on that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Actually, maybe we just put like a quick little segment in each of our education streams.
Devoted to specific code tiles.
Yeah, like just one. Like for instance, there's a really cool workaround for how you can set an in-world position just by dragging and dropping without using an actual object by using camera variables. So like, something like that, I could show off how you can, without having to spend a bunch of objects, just set a bunch of camera variables to in-world positions and kind of save on your prop count that way. So like, there's like, I could walk through that. We could walk through quickly how to make your own pathfinding system, how to use like this one tile to do cooler things. I think one of the most underutilized and most powerful tiles is for each of.
Right.
And so, yeah, we could do a lot more with showing off how.
You could do entire streams just covering how to deal with object sets in useful ways.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot that can be done with object sets for sure. Sorry, Maple Platoon, let me get to one of your lore questions.
Do sparks like to get hugged, and how likely do you think it was that a spark was ever human? I answered both. In chat.
Sparks like to get hugged. Well, sparks can fly through things, so I don't think they are huggable beings. At least you can pretend to hug them by like wrapping your arms around it, and they're happy things. So why would a happy thing not enjoy being hugged? Do they sleep? I'm not actually sure. That is something that I'm not sure if they have a resting state or not.
I don't see why they would need a circadian rhythm. They're not biological creatures.
They aren't. I mean, they are creation beings rather than regular beings.
Okay, we've placated Maple Platoon. Next segment.
But I mean, the lore it's always cool to hear about the lore questions. It's like I mean, when I was talking with all the I went onto this conversation podcast with all the Conquer guys talking about the craziest Conquer lore out there. So I mean,
that's Conquer lore. This is Spark lore, which is
Yeah.
lore devoted to we're creators and we create stuff. There you go. That's the lore. And then there's also this Champions Quest, which you can play if you really want.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I was going to bring up was earlier today I actually saw someone asking, like, well, does anybody know the specifics of the turn towards tile? Like, how would you utilize that? Like, what syntax would that be functional? Or someone else was asking, like, does anybody know more about pace? So how to use pace in different circumstances.
Yeah, there's definitely so much to cover. Maybe doing just starting with kind of every Tuesday stream, covering one of those things. Just one of those. We can kind of do a mailbag of stuff, so people actually send us in questions. I'm confused about how to do this in this situation, and giving like answers to those real world context things, kind of like the Ask Kathy or Ask Susan or whatever the person's name is in famous newspaper column.
Sure. And you could cut those out to be individual YouTube videos and put them in their own category.
Yeah, exactly.
Kim Tehodas describes code tiles, whatever.
Segmentable. That's
there you
the
go.
key thing. Yeah.
So it's for the YouTube generation of watching things that are less than 5 minutes a piece.
Exactly. Yes, those attention spans. Funny enough, I've heard attention spans of the average human have gone down to 8 seconds.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. You didn't complete that in under 8 seconds.
And the attention span of the average goldfish is 10 seconds.
Wow, that's... Thanks, BuzzFeed. And if something doesn't load in under 5 seconds, we say, oh, never mind, I didn't want to watch it that much anyway.
I know.
Buffering? Who needs that?
See, I remember back when I had a 28 KB modem and a web page would take 2 minutes to load, and that was normal.
Yeah, I remember being in front of a CompUSA where Comcast had a stand set up, and we're like, wow, this is actually really fast. I thought you guys were just like full of hot air, but yeah. And then we had to deal with Comcast for the next couple of years, and never mind. That's a bad story. Yeah. Now we have to do all these mergers, and I'm just waiting for Google Fiber to move in so I can get that.
Oh my God, yes. Just faster than well, I shouldn't complain. Our connections here at Microsoft offices are legendary.
Yeah, well, similar to Hopkins, where I'm getting over 1 gig download speed.
Yeah.
So, going back to the topic from last week, which is mostly features, how do you guys decide what features to actually start working on, as opposed to, like, do you worry about like what would make the game cooler, or what's making the game difficult, what people are begging for? How do you guys decide which features?
Uh, it's a tough question. We look at a lot of different things when we look at features. So we look at how much development time it takes us to do that. That's a key consideration. How often it's being asked for, um, how much that was part of our initial roadmap, um, how, like, not how much, well, similar to how much it's being asked for, how concretely people are asking for exactly what we want to deliver on. So, like, a good example is, um, like, a lot of people are asking for have been asking for a UI editor. I'm not here to talk about when a UI editor might be expected,
Soon.
but
Please, soon.
when people started asking us for a UI editor, they weren't giving us much context. They just said, make it easier for us. And that's fine. We were looking at a bunch of different ways, but there's so many different ways you can approach it. So we kind of have been listening more on that. While, like, for instance, something like leaderboards, which is the next thing to roll out tomorrow, that was part of our roadmap. Something people asked for a lot. We knew the value for it. We did a lot of the work prior to release for that, and we are just waiting for the right time to come back to it. And we found the right time to come back to it. I will say the top request of little feature things, we are actively working on.
Well, Thomas already said what it was last week.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet. So you guys know that we're working on it. And we're actually literally, I just came from a conversation our team was having about how to make it work wonders for you guys.
Well, he didn't say that you guys were working on it. He just said that it was a top request, and you guys said that the top request you guys are actively working on. So it's kind of one and one together type thing.
Oh, okay, sweet. So yeah, so the top requested, like, community wide, the top requested thing is something that I can tell you we are working on. I can't tell you when it's going to come out, because we're kind of in investigation point on it. But I can tell you that we are actively working on it.
Because the top
Can't say
requested
that.
thing was Warhammer. No, just kidding. It was Lizardman. No, just
Oh no, stream. There's something wrong with Twitch. The stream stopped for me.
yeah. It's the quality. It's the time of day. I guess I don't know. It's probably
Oh, maybe.
Twitch plays
Yeah.
Pokemon going on right now.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, but so yeah, I'll just say that, yes, one of the top requested things has been people asking for the ability to delete their variables, and so we know that we are actively working on that.
Do you guys have a time span in mind,
Um,
or just when it's done?
yeah, when it's done, but sooner rather than later.
Okay. And when do you think you'll have more details to give us about that? Because I don't want to pushing you, and then you say I don't want to talk about it. So.
Yeah, uh, we will basically we'll always announce something once we are sure of it. So when we're sure that it's going to make one of our title updates, we will say it's coming out now. Or
By the way,
coming
it's
along.
coming soon, and this is the details. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, that's one thing we look at. I mean, we do look at every single feature request someone sends in. We look at that, and compile it with all of our feature requests. And the thing that honestly, for those of you who are really gung ho about getting something into Project Spark, like Mr. Moose here with his Warhammer buddies,
There's more of
then
us, yes.
the thing that makes it more inspiring also is to not just say what you want, but say how you want it. That's a nice thing that we honestly read through all of those, and you guys have really good ideas. So it's great for us to hear your ideas, because honestly, we'll think through how we want to design it, and sometimes we'll see your ideas and say, well, actually, no, we need to modify it to fit in with these ideas that people expect this to be used in this certain way. So,
How so? Faultless had a question about how does collaboration work in Project Spark. Currently, I think the best way to do it is to pass a level back and forth over the upload system,
Hmm.
and someone uploads it, then the other person takes it, downloads it, and then the first person takes it off the server. Alternatively, you could email the file back and forth by zipping it up and sending it through OneDrive or something.
If you're on PC, if you're on Xbox, that won't work because you can't take that exact level file
Right.
and push it out. Yeah, collaborating that way does cause it to be a remix, but like I said, we're pushing more and more feeds to allow remixes like that onto there. So soon enough, that won't really be an issue. It is an issue with certain feeds. I think the two feeds that will probably stay an issue with the longest is top rated Last 7 Days and Noon Rising. Those are probably the two stalwarts that will take the longest time because we've done our own testing. And it requires a lot of manual maintenance and lots of ways for exploitation without us implementing something first.
So going back to the feature stuff, one of the things I've been championing is better combat mechanics, specifically for melee, where
Hmm.
the characters currently all their attacks are more or less synonymous because they're just wild animations that go in every which direction. Whereas if you look at classic games like Legend of Zelda, ActRaiser, even newer games like Skyrim or Diablo, they have distinct attacks where you know exactly where the attack's going to land, and that's why you do it there. As opposed to currently, you lose control of the character, and it takes a long time for the actual action of the attack to follow through. So you lose control of your character for a period of time. How much time or effort, or how likely is that to be addressed within next year?
What you're actually asking for is creating your own animations in a meaningful way.
Right, because we can't actually use Kinect to make an attack animation. That's why that's an issue right now.
You can technically, but it takes a lot of extra work on your side.
See, I don't even know how it's possible.
So if you play my game Attack on Titan, you'll see how. But yeah, it takes a lot of work. I mean, because my Attack on Titan was even simple attacks. It was grabbing someone and eating someone and then stomping on someone. So they were much simpler attacks. But if you do your own custom attacks with Kinect, then it requires a lot of precision. You probably have to. I remember when I was working on a character with his default sword attack would be a Kinect animation of like chopping over the head. I recorded myself probably 20 times until I finally got a really nice, good segment that looped well, and then I used that, and then I actually had to kind of create my own hitboxes by putting logic cubes on his sword, things like that, and then kind of defining when that hit. So it takes more work currently with Kinect. So what you're asking for is just making it easier than it currently is to create your own animations you want to make on the fly and have those apply to combat or to other things. I can't give you any sense of a time frame of when we might be looking at that. That's, but it is something that people have been requesting in various ways. So I'm just interested in that and seeing what we can do there. But so it's not something that I want to say yes we will tackle that in the next year, and I don't want to say no we won't tackle that in the next year because it really it depends on a lot of things.
Who should we tweet to make that happen? Or should we just insult Steve-O and call it his fault, even though he wasn't around when it was made?
I don't know if there's a single person because it requires creating something. An editor of that magnitude requires the full team's effort.
Well, I mean, I don't even care, honestly, if it's the animation editor that does it or if it's you guys that do it for us and just give us better animations for these attacks. Because, I mean, when you look at Rogue Legacy, you're doing the same attack for hundreds of hours, but you don't get tired of it because it's a useful animation. Same thing with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I've been playing that for, I don't know, 10 years now, 15 years, and it's just a horizontal slash attack, and it looks like a swoosh. It looks like a nice Nike swoosh for all intents and purposes, but it's functional, whereas the attacks we have in Spark are not.
Well, I mean that's also subjective.
It's why I'm banning melee attacks from the mini jams. So
True.
it's subjective enough and enforcing enough to be a major issue.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Oh, that's true.
when it deals with animations, it's sort of it
Braston
is
brings up a
closer
point
to.
where PC users can't use Kinect.
Yeah, that is true. You have to buddy up with someone who is on Xbox and basically have them record the stuff for you. Which I remember when of some of my friends, I was the first one at Xbox. I would record stuff for them, like a zombie popping out of the ground, things like that. Yeah, so that's another thing. That definitely is another limitation. So, but what you're really asking for is animation editor, and it's not off the table.
I'm just not sure if I have the patience to go through with it, to be honest. Even if,
Well, yeah, I mean the thing that would make it, when we look at really anything in Project Spark, we want to make it something that is easy for anyone to approach, because we're not creating Unity here or Unreal Engine here. We're creating something that you don't have to have a CS major to do things. So I think if we were to look at something like an animation editor, we would want to define it as something that would be approachable to anyone. Whatever we chose to do with in the future, if we allowed you to create your own combat mechanics, we would create that in a way where it could be approachable by anyone. They don't have to know anything about keyframing, things like that.
but on the
So
same
that,
on the same turn, whenever you guys make something that's accessible, the more accessible you make it, the more limited you make it for the advanced options.
sure, we would want to look at the exact balance there. I mean, I'd say like what we did with leaderboards is kind of a great balance moving forward. Like there's only two limitations on leaderboards. The fact that the ways that scores are displayed, you can only just display one score, so everything has to be packaged up into one final thing.
Right.
And you can only currently pull into your game data from the top 10 people. You can have outside of the game as many people, it shows as many people's data as possible, but you can only pull 10 people's data into your game. But besides that, we give you the flexibility to make all of your own in-game UI related to leaderboards, post scores in whatever way you want. And so we'd want to go for something that's kind of flexible and also gives you all the meat and bones to make it semi plug and play. And yeah, to Mescad's question, are you considering expanding that to something larger than the top 10? We're certainly looking at that. We had a lot of reasons for limiting it to 10 pieces of data that we bring in from our services every playtime. Just like we knew that we had to limit the frequency of how often you post to the servers for the servers to refresh every 30 seconds so we don't get DDoS attacks. When you're dealing with a lot of data, that you have to kind of set a bandwidth, and but we're looking at what would happen if we expanded that bandwidth.
Or gone through some fancy filtering or caching or whatever.
Sure, yeah. So that's definitely not off the table of expanding in the future.
All right, so we're about at 1 hour. Do you have any final words for the community at this point?
No, just to tease you guys again. I guess I already kind of gave that away, but look forward to our treasure trove next week.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I didn't draw that connection until just now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sunday. Gotcha. All right. And then tomorrow you will be doing the Twitch stream for more leaderboards.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday will be the stream with the UGC played by the Team Code devs and possibly some other people.
Yep.
Okay. With that, we will be signing off, and I will see you guys here next week at the appropriate time of 8 o'clock Eastern, not 7 o'clock.
It's all right. When you told me about that, I told you about the time that one time Zach and I accidentally started our We stream every single Thursday at 3 p.m. and one week we accidentally started at 2 p.m. So it happens.
Yeah, someone was like 5 minutes till Sparkcast. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I will. So I type it in, do the tweets, and like, wait a second, and you're like, hey, wait, we're doing it 7 today? It was, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
All right. I clicked off, so we're no longer streaming. Do you want to go ahead and tell me what the name of the next content pack after leaderboards?
Lizardmen?
What?